What's up to Lion Talk Live? We love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew. This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, Lions Talk Live Saturday morning show edition, and guess what day it is? It is the day that NFL vets, at least the Detroit Lions NFL vets, are going to report to camp. They'll be the last guys coming in, but we all get it. This time next week, the Lions are deep into training camp. They're getting ready for the Hall of Fame game, and yes, we're talking about things that are happening on the field, what we see out of this guy, that guy, and everybody in between, who's developed, who's grown, who's done this, that, what kind of offense are we thinking they're going to put in, what are they going to do on defense, are they going to move any guys out of different positions from one position to another position to the position for the position, whatever it is, we're going to be deep diving into all of it as we get it, that basically in every real level situation for the team, the season is here, the guys are in, they're checking in, they're getting off the planes, yada, yada, you get it. With all that being said, done, and out of the way, we'd also know this, as you can tell from today's thumbnail. You know what? The Lions have signed 3 more players. Yes, they may be camp bodies. Who knows? Maybe they find a diamond in the rough. But one thing we do know is the Lions roster is now full, and there is no Za'Darius Smith. Could it just be that he's going to come in later today? I'm hoping that by the time this show ends in about a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever time it may be, that we get a report that Za'Darius Smith is in the building. But at least as of right here, right now, Saturday the 19th at, we'll just say just after 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the morning, Za'Darius Smith is nowhere around to be seen. Adam Scheffler does not have any reports about when he's going to sign. Nobody else in national media knows apparently anything other than one simple, undeniable conclusion. He's not yet a Detroit Lion. So we're going to dive into that during the main topic of the day. We're going to dive into it after the 5 headlines now and everything in between. We'll try to Scooby-Doo with the Duke Crew. When do you actually think Za'Darius is going to sign? Or is this an indication, worst case scenario, I would think for most Lions fan, is this an indication that maybe the Lions aren't going to re-sign him? Maybe the two sides are too far apart, and we just need to come to the reality that Za'Darius Smith won't be a Lion. I don't know. I still think he's going to sign. All right, real quick before we get into all that, though, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're making that march for 14,000 subs. I never would have guessed it. But we are, I'm doing the math in my head here, we'll just say 70 subs away. Hey, we're going to round up here. We're 70 subs away, so if you can help out with that, I sure would be thankful. Also, if you have a free second of time, it doesn't cost a dang dime. Reach on down while you're hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the thumbs up button, the like button, hit all the buttons. Try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. If you watch YouTube for any kind of, time, you probably understand anytime you get interactions like that, it helps the channel grow, helps the content creator. I don't charge for any of my content. I don't do memberships. I don't do any of that jazz. All I ask is if you like the work, hey, hit the subscribe, hit the like, keep your own money, and thank you very much for it. All right, one other thing I need to throw out there before I forget, if you are perhaps looking for something to read, doing a different one here, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you like something like, we'll say historical fiction, then go over to Amazon.com or wherever you find great reading literature and order yourself a copy of Kajora book. It is the first in a 9-part series. The second one releases later this year. If you like historical fiction, so actual historical events, the characters, maybe weren't actually there, allegedly, etc. But maybe you like Native Americans, and maybe you like Japanese culture, maybe you like all that kind of mythology, then check the book out. You're probably going to enjoy it, and you'll probably like the rest of the series when it does release. All right, and if you like the book, leave a kind review. All that done, set out of the way. Let's get this show going and kicking off with 5 headlines now. All right, 5 headlines now. Let me tell you, probably come Monday, these headlines become a lot more impactful, a lot more easy on the eyes, because you know what? They're actual reports about things happening on the field, player injury updates, what's going on here, there, and everything. So this will be the last weekend where it's probably more speculative than actual factual. All right, where Detroit Lions offense ranks among revamped NFC North in 2025. Athlon Sports, story by Nicky Meyer. Nicky Meyer's got his homework done, and he's come on in, and he still thinks when it's all said and done, we understand we're changing coordinators. We understand Ben Johnson's over in Chicago. We all understand that, man, the Green Bay Packers have a gajillion wide receivers who are going to be running all over the field. Whether or not they can stay healthy, I don't know, but they do have some speed over there. Jordan Love's going to need a bit of a bounce-back season. A lot of people said, hey, his first real season as a starter over in Green Bay went pretty well. Last year was kind of meh. It wasn't really horrible. It wasn't really great. It was kind of in the middle. He's going to need to bounce back. Then you've got the situation in Minnesota. I think most, even if you're not a fan of the Vikings, even if you just want to throw stones at their windshields, I would assume most fans could look at them and say, yeah, they're a pretty talented team. So if J.J. McCarthy hits, that team could be pretty dang dangerous once again. I mean, they were pretty good last year, let's be fair. With Detroit Lions, you have some in the national media saying they're not going to be good this year. They're going to fall dramatically off because of the changes of coordinators, yada, yada. I'm just not among them. I think the Lions have got a lot of people in-house that are going to make this transition easier. Per this report, the anticipation is, at least from Nick Meyer, that the Lions will still have one of the league's best offenses overall. I think it might be the best offense in the league history since maybe the Rams. I get that's an easy comparison for multiple different layers. I'm talking about the St. Louis Rams of the, was it late 90s, early 2000s? But as far as the NFC North, it's probably most people's anticipation that, yes, the Detroit Lions are going to be the number one offense out there. And it's no disrespect to the rest of the teams in the NFC North. They're all pretty powerful. It is maybe one of the NFL's best divisions, if not the best division. Lions, I think you've got so many different layers, and Nick Myers outlines this in the report, that, yes, there are going to be people that are kind of worried about the offensive line situation. I get it, but I think now that Ratledge is in, it's my also growing opinion, doesn't have to be your opinion, that they're going to just start him at center from day one of training camp and let him ride with it. I don't think they're going to make the move where, hey, you're going to be a guard this year, and they're going to move you and transition you to center next year or something like that. How about this? If they're going to move him to center, they're going to do it day one and just say, hey, Glasgow, you're one guard, Mahogany, or you're the other guard. When you look at all the offensive weapons, and I feel like we've talked about this for way too long, I do think John Morton's offense is set up to be the best one in the NFL. Yes, it could finish number 2 or 3 or whatever. I think you're splitting hairs with all that, but there's just too many dang weapons. I think Goff is just really starting to hit his quarterback prime. You look at Gibbs, you look at Monty. I think Sion Vaki, you want somebody who's going to be a dark horse candidate this year to do something on offense? I think it's that guy. Having watched him just terrorize people in college, you can't teach speed. That's one thing I learned a long time ago as a coach. You can't teach passion, desire. And I think I wouldn't be surprised, and this is, maybe I should hit the breaking news thing here, but I wouldn't be surprised if at some points during the season you see Gibbs, Monty, and Baki all out on the field at the same time. Yes, a few of them are going to get flexed out there. While we've talked about this offseason, Gibbs getting moved to receiver in the right situations, Baki can do it too. I've seen it myself. Whether or not Morton agrees with my assessment of the situation, I don't know, but I won't be surprised. And if you're the opposing D and all of a sudden you see 3 of the league's better running backs on the field at the same time, and maybe that's a stretch by saying Baki is one of the league's better running backs, but you get it. That might cause a whole lot of linebackers to have to come on the field, and now all of a sudden John Morton says you put too many linebackers on the field or too many safeties, we're going to have these 2 guys go out at receiver, and yes, that's going to be a problem for those guys to match up with. We'll see what happens in time. All right, way too long on that headline, so let's go on to the next one. Detroit Lions, Lions news, Detroit Lions ranked 7th by facing most pressure in 2025, SB Nation, story by Kelly Rowe. Do you agree with this? I don't know. But there is going to be pressure on the Detroit Lions. We all understand the record is 15-2, going to the playoffs. Playoffs didn't go great last year. And at the end of the day, we're all Lions fans. We're all, can say, hey, Ben Johnson did us dirty. Hey, the injuries, were too much to overcome. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. You're judged by what you do in the regular season and then, more importantly, in the postseason. Lions understand 2 years ago in the NFC championship game, they may have let that one slip away. Lions also understand last year they had the greatest record in Lions franchise history and let that one slip away. And again, you can, dice it up as to why it happened. But what we do know is the Lions are entering this year. They're starting to hit the real peaks. I guess if you could say the vast majority of the talent on the team is starting to enter their primes with all these great rookie classes we've drafted since Brad Holmes took over. So at some point, you got to cash in those chips. You're either making something off that bet or you're not. Lions, I think, are going to have a phenomenal record. They're going to have a phenomenal offense, phenomenal defense. But what they do in the postseason is what it comes down to. Per Kelly Rowe's report, some of the players under the most pressure, and probably not a big surprise here, number one on that list is Jared the Hitman Goff. Goff, crazy legs Goff himself. We all understand he did some stuff with the Rams. He's done some stuff here in Detroit. End of the day, his legacy is going to come down to what he can take the Lions to. Can he take them to the NFC Championship again and then win it this time? If he does that, I think everybody's going to say Goff's career is pretty dang cemented. If he wins the Super Bowl, it's dang cemented. He's probably talking about a statue in front of Ford Field at some point because we all know Lions haven't won a championship since the 50s. Lions, if Jared Goff can get them to that, you know what? He's got no stress, no pressure on him the rest of his career. He's throwing every pass like it's, house money. If he doesn't get it done, if the Lions don't do it, you probably start seeing, per this report, a lot of pressure being put on Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, and whoever else you want to throw on that list. There will be guys for sure. There will be coaches for sure. But at this time, I would say this. Lions are aware of the situation. You've heard Amon-Ra St. Brown, amongst other Lions players, talk about it all offseason. They're anticipating the entire team's going to come in laser-like focused on this year. The bad taste in their mouth from the Washington game in the playoffs last year is rocket fuel, apparently, for most of them going into this year. And I agree with them. I think it's going to vitalize them and get them all pointed in a similar direction. I'm expecting great things from this team this year. All right, going on too long with all these headlines. Detroit Lions have the best NFL safety combo duo, and the stats prove it. By Corey Woodward of MLive.com. I'm going to spend a ton of time on this one because I think it's something we kind of already know. A lot of the story is kind of built about things we've already talked about. But when you look at the Detroit Lions secondary, and I'm going to say not just the safeties, I think it's one of the best in the league now. Last year, I understand, he had a rookie cornerback out there. He got roasted at times. He did well at other times. Carlton Davis more than held his own. Meek the Freak Robinson, I think we all agree he was probably a diamond in the rough signing. But when it comes to the safety combo, if you can think of a better group or tandem in the NFL, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Even at the worst of their abilities on the field, I'm going to guess the Lions have at the very least the number 3 combo out there, but I do think they're the number 1 combo. Let me know your thoughts, though. I think it's gotten better, though, with DJ Reed. It's not that I didn't like Carlton Davis. I think he's a heck of a cornerback. I think he could play safety and probably be better at this point in his career than he could corner. DJ Reed, though, I think he's slightly better in run defense, even though he's a little bit smaller. Pass defense, I'm going to say in man-to-man, I think Carlton Davis is slightly better. Zone, I'm going to say DJ Reed's better. But overall, I think when you look at him as a totality, Lions slightly upgraded from a speed, athletic standpoint over Carlton Davis, who was getting up there in age a little bit. He's had some injuries. Overall, I think the Lions secondary is going to be pretty dang deadly. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Detroit Lions success is having a huge impact across the city. SI.com, story by Mike Payton. You're seeing more and more, and we have talked about this, especially, I want to say late last season for the Tigers, the kind of how they've taken on a lot of the Detroit Lions mantra. You've seen the Pistons kind of use some of that too. But you're also having an economic boom across the city of Detroit. Maybe not to the point where they're going to go back to the glory days, the 40s, 50s, 60s, anything like that anytime soon. But Detroit as a whole is seeing a turnaround, and you're having some of the lawmakers, the political figures in Detroit do comment from time to time about how much the Detroit Lions have helped out with that. People in the city are feeling better about themselves. You're seeing new industry come in there, new businesses come in there. As the Lions rise, so does the city. Is there a symbiotic relationship? I believe so. When the Lions host playoff games, we all know that's a massive economic boom for the area. I'm hoping they keep it going, not just for themselves, obviously for selfish reasons as a Lions fan, but how they help inspire people within the city, people within the political structure, and yes, other sports franchises within the city. All right, last 5 headlines now. Lions offensive transition is already turning heads inside the building. Sideline report, Matt Sidney with this one. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this one because until we see it on the field, who knows what's really happening. But you are having some of the players start coming out, talking to different outlets. We all get it. It's their last couple days until they check in. Today is the day the vets do check in. For those who are unaware, Sam I Am Laporta joined Jim Rome and started talking about the differences he knows are going to take place, that they already kind of soft shoot, walked on as far as the new offensive stuff with John Morton. Sam I Am Laporta said just, in a nutshell here, I'm going to paraphrase for a second when it comes to John Morton. Brilliant mind. I think he's going to call the offensive greatly. We might even improve over what we've done the last few years. If you want to check out the full interview with Jim Rome, and man, I hadn't seen Jim Rome in a minute. I used to actually enjoy listening to him. Then I kind of got onto other stuff. But anyway, Sam Laporta is on there. I think it's about a 10-minute segment he does, but he does outline some of the nuanced differences. He does think they're going to be more of a power team, enforce their will. The Detroit Lions offense, that is going to be a power team, enforce their will even more on opposing defenses and force the defenses in some bad situations. We've been speculating since Morton's hire that the Lions are going to do more 12 personnel or pro set formations to put multiple running backs out on the field. We talked about it earlier in the 5 headlines now. I won't be surprised if we do see 3 running backs on the field at the same time. Just again, force opposing defenses into some no-win situations, and Laporta's interview with Jim Rome more or less confirms that. He thinks that he's going to get more deep shots down the field. J-Mo's going to get more deep shots down the field. Thinks the team overall is probably going to use a little less trickeration plays or trick plays, and that he thinks the Lions are just going to come out there and enforce their wills on teams. I think he's spot on with all the above, and I think the Lions, while we might see some kind of versions of this during the preseason, I think they're probably going to keep most things under wraps, under tarps, whatever, into the regular season, and they're going to unleash the beast on Green Bay, and then, yes, Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears in week 2. All right, well, all that done, set out of the way. Let's get this show over to the next segment, and as you know, that is, well, the main topic of the day. All right, you can't tell one guy from the other guy on the team without knowing who their names are, so we got a bunch of new guys on the team, and if you don't know them, you would be forgiven. Let's see, DiCaprio Bottle and Tyson Russell are 2 new cornerbacks for the team. Both of them have some wheels. Both of them have a little bit of size. We were talking about with Kurt Steele the other day, Lions corners, at least right now, if we go with the projections, you do have Terrion Arnold at 6 foot-ish or 6 foot around there. He's a bigger corner. Meek the Freak Robinson, you know what? He's about 5'9", I want to say. And DJ Reed's about that size too. So is it possible the Lions are trying to add a little bit more size with some of these signings? The kid they signed yesterday, the 2 guys they got in today, it's definitely possible. Bottle, just so you know, he does run fairly fast, I would say, for a cornerback at the NFL level. He's got a 4.38 40-yard dash time. Man, 37 vertical. That's no joke. So it's possible that he gets some time or an option to work his way into the roster, but he's going to be in a camp battle. As we all know, the cornerback position for this team is one of the deepest out there. Now, in regards to his fastest time, here's where it gets interesting. There are multiple reports that say during the NFL scouting combine, he came in at 4.27 seconds. So he was flying out there, at least on that particular day. The other cornerback, Tyson Russell, also had a sub 4.340. He's also had a couple that were closer to 4.4. Lions are getting a little bit faster, more athletic. We've outlined that. Man, it feels like all off season long. You look at the draft picks this year and last year, especially some of the signings, even this late into the start of training camp, you're seeing the Lions are trying to put speed on the field And yes, trying to add a little bit more size to the cornerback spot. With that being said, the running back that we signed, hey, Jabari Small, we talked about the UFL guy that we brought in, and I don't remember his name offhand earlier this week, Tua something or other. But anyways, he wasn't the fastest guy, more of a power back. Could be somebody who could play the H-back role, also the full-back role. Well, you know what? Small also fits that bill in a roughly a 4.65 40-yard dash time, a little bit bigger upper body mass, especially in the shoulders. Could be somebody who's a little bit more of a blocking back. We'll see if the Lions, because apparently we might use more two backs in the backfield from time to time. They may be trying to add somebody to be more of a fullback. I don't think there's any kind of Corey Schlesinger type signings here, but there's definitely something going on with the running back room and the cornerback room where the team wants to add more depth. With that also being said, as we know, today is the first day for veterans to report to the Detroit Lions. And yes, the biggest question out there for probably most Lions fans at this point, with training camp on the 15 seconds away from starting, is where is Za'Darius Smith? You guys have been asking for, I'd say, a week or two now when he's going to any kind of on news, and there's nothing formal from either Adam Schefter or anybody in national media, anybody I can talk to in Detroit-based media. Nobody seems to have that big burning answer. When will he sign? When will he return? So let me ask you, Duke Crew, if he was going to wait for a while, how late do you think we'd be okay with allowing him to sit on the sidelines watching from home before we need him in camp? I've talked about it this week with people watching the show. My thoughts are the way MCDC's wired, I'm not so sure if he would be okay with a guy sitting and waiting until week 1 of the regular season to sign. Now, without the other side of that is the financial aspect. Brad Holmes may be saying that, on other people in the front office, that we want to wait until after the first game of the regular season to sign Za'Darius Smith just from a financial commitment. It would make his contract a whole lot more easier to move off of if they decided to part ways during the regular season with Za'Darius Smith. Because at that point, once you get past week 1, the amount of guarantees on a contract drop exponentially. So it could be that, yes, they're going to wait until after week 1 against the Green Bay Packers to bring Smith in. Me, myself, and I know some of you guys absolutely hate it when I say that phrase, but here's my thought on it. I'd rather just have him in. The Lions got plenty of money. Get him in-house. Get that defensive line right as rain. We know Levi Onwuzurike is going to be out for a while. Is that the end of all things, not having him there? No. But we also went through the last half of last year where we had so many injuries. The defense basically was a shell of itself. Smith was healthy. He is healthy now from all reports. He would be an impact player, and I think a real nice player to have, nurturing, helping develop some of the younger players on the team, whether they're rookies or otherwise. I think Ahmed Hassanin would absolutely do well from some tutelage from Za'Darius Smith. I think Aiden Hutchinson would do well having Smith opposite him. I think the Lions defense overall would do well having both guys on the field. So it's the $1 million question at this point. Duke Crew, what say you? When do you think ultimately Za'Darius Smith signs? Or do you think maybe with all these signings we've had in the last 2 days, 48 hours, that maybe this is the first sign that Za'Darius Smith will not be returning to the Detroit Lions? I hope he does. I want him to. I know most of you guys want him to too. Let's see what you guys have to say in the Duke Crew comment section, and we'll go from there. All right, give me a second. I'm scrolling to the top of the screen. All right, and here we go. JDC, morning all. Back at you. Gary, morning all. And same to you. Johnny L, good morning, folks. It's always good morning when we're hanging out with the Duke Crew. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. Exclamation point. What a time. Be a Lions fan. Woo! And all right, I'll go with all of that. And thank you, Henry. Johnny, hit the buttons. Hit all the buttons if you would, please. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. I'm hoping today is at the latest Monday, we get word Z has returned to the team. I just feel we really need him even more with Levi out for a while. Anyone know his injury? I have not found anything as far as what the actual injury is to Levi Onwuzurike. If somebody out there knows in the Duke Crew or watching this later on, feel free to throw it in the comment section, whether it's, like I said, live or otherwise. But I think we're all wanting Za'Darius back. It just, when it's going to happen is the $1 million question. Silver, good morning, Coach and everyone. Back at you. Mike the Marine. Howdy, Dan and the Duke Crew family. Woo! Good to see you as always, Gunny. Johnny L, I don't know either, 70. Yeah, I've tried to find out, but Nobody said anything, and I'm going to assume the Lions weren't caught off guard by this. They knew he was injured and would probably be out for a while. And I think they've known that for a while. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. The signs are everywhere! Exclamation point. Woo! And yes, they are. They're pointing towards the Super Bowl. Trey, what's going on, everybody? Question mark. The team is back. Rat sign, all good news. Now we just need some of the injured players to heal up and recover. Smith will be here in time. Yeah, who knows when? I can only speak from a selfish coaching standpoint. I want you here now. I don't want you here then. But I also won't be surprised if they're making some level of financial decision here and saying, hey, we'll get you back after week 1. All right, Leonard, good morning, Coach and the Duke Crew. Same to you, Leonard. Always a pleasure to see you. Jess, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. Ain't worried about Za'Darius. He's staying fresh and healthy. Yeah, you can't get worn down. You can't get injured if you're not here. At least I would think not. Johnny L., we all know that the Big Z will be coming in soon. I hope so. JDC, Puff, woo, coffee, and Lions Talk Live. Sounds like a good start to your day. Kerry, camp always started with injuries, people getting back into a routine. Really nothing new. Just hoping for minor stuff. Yeah, most of the bodies do take, once you start getting that punishment going, for those who never went through a training camp or football stuff or whatever, that those first couple days are brutal on the body just because you've gone through typically months of not having that happen. Once the body kind of gets immune to it, or I guess you say nullifies it, then you start going forward and such. All right, Drake, good morning, Duke Crew. So who do we sign now? And now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Jess, I got a question. Is DJ Reed going to be an up or downgrade over Davis? I think it's going to be an upgrade. Now, are you talking a dramatic one? No, but I do think, if both guys are even, I would say DJ Reed is slightly higher. Just because I think he's got more versatility. Bo, upgrade in your humble opinion, says Jess, or at Jess, I should say, with an exclamation point. Kerry, that's what I said yesterday. I'll go with that. Johnny, I agree, Bo. All right. Kerry, we all hope. I think so. I think we all do hope. Big Eddie, I think we've talked all offseason about the number of good defensive tackles we have. Now that Levi is gone for a while, my guess is the Lions knew something was up. Yeah, they probably, when they signed him, I'm guessing they knew whatever the situation was, it was probably unfolding. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's something that happened after they re-signed the one-year deal, but we'll see what shakes out in time. All right, Silver, Coach, I think that Levi's injury is a real serious blow. What happened to him? Question mark. He played till the end, exclamation point. Anyways, Martin has his last great call, and I can see Miles Adams really making the team. Yeah, to your point, if I were to guess on a depth chart right now, it's Tyleek, the Freak Williams at one tackle, DJ Reader at the next, probably with Levi out now. I would say Lopez and then Adams backing them up. But maybe Pat O'Connor gets in that mix. Right there, that's 5 pretty good quality defensive tackles. I'm not going to say they're great, but they're good quality. Now, if someone like Martin does help out, man, then you got a lot more size, a lot more athleticism. Could be, man. We'll have to wait and see what, training camp provides us with. Johnny L., I lost my energy today. Have a delicious Mountain Dew, my friend. That's my wise words of wisdom. Susan Scott, maybe this is the opportunity Martin needs to win a spot. Silver Server, could be. I hope he rises to the occasion. Silver Server, I'd like to see how much Chris Smith has developed. Can he really contribute and make the team with Aleem, Levi, Wingo on injured reserve? He's got a better option, doesn't he, with those guys out? And yeah, don't forget, Aleem and Wingo are going to be out for a while with those ACLs. Bo, are we rising tides despite the injury? Question mark. One sinking while another swims? Could be. Sometimes, hey, one person will rise and swim to the top. Other people will fall on off. So not everybody handles the stress and pressure of training camp very well. Silver Susan Scott, never a bigger one than this. It would be nice for Detroit and him as well. I would go with that. Yeah, it'd be a massive win at this point, considering there's basically zero expectations for B-Mart. France, we'll be fine. The D-line has some good depth, even more when Smith returns. I concur. Kerry, in my opinion, this is Martin's last call to prove himself or they will move on. Yeah, if he looks like, let's be honest, he should have been on the field last year with all the gajillion injuries. The coaches didn't go with him. They went with guys on other teams' practice squads over him. That's a damning statement for sure. If he can't make it this year, then you know what? he's going to probably be on somebody else's practice squad. Servicer, I saw Za'Darius Smith. He is okay. Nothing shocking. Did they sign to a Tawa fellow? Not that I'm aware of. I know they kicked the tires on him. They haven't brought him in or signed him that I'm aware of, at least. Student Scott, I believe in B. Martin. I'm going to believe in him just because it would be beneficial for this team. Five Fingers Freddy, good morning. Duke Crew, waking up rough today? It happens, my friends, especially if you had a glorious time last night. Silver Surfer, smiling, stay strong. I'm down with that. Steve Rogers, the late night show got booted on CBS. Anyone see that? I was not aware of that. But to be fair, I haven't watched. God, I can't even remember the last time I watched a late night show. Soso, I've seen the news pop up on that. Didn't read the story though. Didn't care as I haven't watched the late night show in years. Yeah. It just I haven't watched it either in a long time. Maybe somebody has. If you got info, I guess throw it in the comment section. Bo, I forgot that it still exists, Steve. Yeah, you got to stay up till. I'm trying to remember. There's a late night show in Eastern Standard Time. I want to say that starts at 10, another one at 11, another one at midnight. So if you're up at those times, maybe watch it. I don't know. You're non-laughers. Good morning, Dan and Duke Crew starters! ! Back at you. Good to see you, my friend. It feels like it's been a second. Johnny L, I think I'm going to just listen in today and have no energy. No worries, man. Kick back, relax, and enjoy the Duke Crew. Tori, we signed a running back and two corners I've never heard of. Yeah, I'm going to guess most of us probably haven't, but the only thing I can tell you is the corners have some little bit of size. They're both like 5'10", 5'11", and then the kid from the other day is also 5'11". They're all got about the same speed range, although some reports do say two of them are in the high 4.2 in the 40-yard dash times, but I think all of them are basically 4.3 to 4.4s, which is not slow by any stretch. David, coming out of training camp each season, most teams are missing one player more or less from each group position. It gives room for a surprise addition. Yes, 100%. I don't think the Lions roster is fully here yet. I think Za'Darius will sign. I won't be surprised if the closer we get to the 53-man cut down, or maybe even the day of the 53-man cut down, Brad Holmes makes some moves to trade some of our guys that are better players are getting released for either draft picks or group them for one particular player, two particular players, etc. Black J.R. Jones, good Saturday. Duke Crew, early birds catch the worm. There you go. I like the way you're thinking. But both the one cornerback has good size and speed. Can't teach that. No, you can't. I've tried to teach that to myself for a long time. Jedi Sith music. We signed some camp guys just to keep others fresh. A lot of times, I think you're spot on with that. You're going to keep some guys around. That's why there's 90-some guys on the roster right now, just so you don't overly burden your main guns too much. You got 4 preseason games. You got a ton of time in training camp. A lot of hits are going to happen. Keep the guys, the big guns, as fresh as possible. Okay, I feel the exact same way about Scoresdale. They have spent enough money and time, and at some point have to say enough is enough. Yeah, I think, Gary, you're spot on with that. The one thing I would say going for Kobe at this point is the fact that it's my anticipation you're probably keeping 9 offensive linemen on the roster. Scoresdale's not great at anything unless he's really developed, right, in the offseason. But what his big advantage is, he can play either tackle, he can play either guard and center. As far as I'm aware, he's the only guy currently on the roster that can do all that. Graham Glasgow, I think, will make it because he can play both guards and the center. I guess maybe in an emergency he can play tackle. But Scoresdale's value is his flexibility. You'd be able to keep somebody on the roster that basically can back up everybody. All right, Virgil Rose, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Miles Mark, greetings and salutations, Coach and Crew. 12 days to Hall of Fame game. Yes, indeed. It's getting close. Look at Bo and the sign said long, hairy freak people need not apply. There you go, unless you're going into a barber shop. Vince E., good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Woo! Back at you. Miles Mark, can you read the sign? Hey, I saw the sign. It opened up my mind. I saw the sign. Big D, Big Z ain't coming, unfortunately, guys. I hope we're all wrong on that. I hope he does show up, but you know what? Until he signs, he ain't here. Bo, can you imagine me working for you, Hookadoo? Hey, one thing at a time. Hookadoo, morning, Miles Marger. If you built it, grit will grow, all right? Oh, yeah, I'll go with that. Xavier, good morning to everyone and the Duke Crew. Go Lions! ! Wook! All right, wook it up in here. Phil, good morning. Back at you, Phil. Joseph, after the first game, they will sign Za'Darius Smith. Yeah, and that's where some people are starting to think more and more is the situation. It might be right. JK, they assigned 3 camp bodies. Probably accurate. Thomas, smash that like, y'all. Thumbs up and with an exclamation point. And thank you for that, Thomas. Xavier, good morning to you and the Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Go Lions. Woo! And same to you, Big D. The team believes in Davenport. How? Question mark. I don't freaking know, but that's the only thing that could be possible. You know, the coaches, obviously, some of the coaches have been around him since he was with the Saints, and that's a bit of time. They obviously had him in camp last year, had him in a few games at least before the injuries derailed his season again. I guess all I can say is if the coaches believe in him, I guess we should too as fans, at least to some degree, although I can also understand why we all have a raised eyebrow about having too many expectations for Marcus Davenport. Big D, no Z means the brass has faith in what we have. I concur. Don't know how, but that's what it seems. All right, I'll go with that. JK, Z will sign soon. If not this week, next week, then he won't sign. Yeah, if he doesn't sign in the next few weeks, I guess the only thing left is right after week 1 of the regular season against Green Bay. Xavier, come back, Za'Darius Smith, exclamation point, please. He would be better with Hutchinson. I would agree. JK, if not, yep. Big D, if it was Za'Darius' choice, I think he would be here already. I think so too. Thomas, Lions, it's all about the health and counting on new defensive tackles at the beginning of the year. Injured players will need 3 to 5 games to get into the groove. Yep, could be accurate, 100%. JK is Z's agent. It's Z's agent who is holding him back, not just Z. Okay, I'll go with that. Okay, everybody and their brother wants Z to come back, and I'm not one of them, all right? And I'm one of them, excuse me. Rocky, good morning, Coach and Dooku. Back at you. Silver Server, I am looking forward to Vaki too. Exclamation point. What can he do? He can do quite a lot. He's very versatile. We haven't seen anything preseason. Needs to be his stage. Reynolds will just rest. I do wonder if there could be an upset in the making with Craig Reynolds. I like the guy. I just think the Lions are testing out enough waters, or makes me wonder if they've got some sort of trepidation about somebody. I don't think it's going to be Vaki, especially with everything John Morton's offense appears to be setting up. I think the Lions keep 4 guys on the active roster. 4 running backs, I should say. So that means if they keep bringing in people and signing people, somebody wins that 4th spot. It means Craig's probably out. Check him. Good morning. Good morning. I know hope floats, but I honestly think he's not coming back. He would have been here because that's a priority for us. I would say there's a lot of wise words of wisdom there. Thomas, I believe Z will sign in 2 or 3 weeks. If not, Hassanin gets more playing time. Accurate. Very accurate. Xavier, the offensive line is going to be awesome. I think so too, especially when you get to about the middle of the season or later. I think they're going to be right as rain. Miles Mark, grit morning, Hookadoo and Rock. Hassani Madley, good morning, Coach Dan and the Dooku. Thumbs up and back at you. Hopefully it's a good afternoon in Cairo. Lauren, what do you got? Good morning, Coach Dan and the Dooku. Same to you. Are you at work today? If not, I hope you're getting some rest, my friend. Thomas, Hendon, Scoresdale, Martin better show something in preseason. Vaki, if given a chance and no injury, stud. I'm down with all the above. Man Bear, hey man, it's been a hot second since we've seen it. Good to see you. Gabby, hey, I am back at you. Look at Mr. Hassanin is in the house. Ahmed will bring the grit. I think it will bring the pain to many opposing quarterbacks. JK, Goff carries trophy with MCDC pick. Love it. I'm down with that. Thomas, Lions plus good health equals Super Bowl. I would agree fully. Bo, I saw that. JK, Rock, Miles Margaret, Hookadoo, grit, and a good morning to you both. I'm back with all of the above. JK, right, Bo? Jacob, thanks, Dan, for being so gracious and positive on these airways because so many are not. Give a big woo to yourself. I'm down with that. Hey, man, it's just my nature, man. I went skydiving once and I heard a phrase that I will never forget to the end of my days. Got out there on that step. Instructor, since I was doing a ripcord jump, not a tandem jump, said, hey, look at me. If it doesn't open, you got 12 seconds to complain. I was like, you know what? That's some positive thinking right there. Just enjoy the moment, man. All right, Thomas, do not forget Carlton Davis won the Houston game. He did a great job out there. He did a great job. I was sad to see him go. I was too, man. I was hoping we could keep him. I also he's won a Super Bowl. You know, he's near the end of his career. He's going to get every dollar he can because, you know what, that's his future. I don't have any ill feelings for him. I wish him nothing but the best. JDC getting real to the D. Go Lions! Exclamation point. Back at you. Independent Aquaman, another person we haven't seen in a hot second. Good to see you, my friend. 1, safeties are the quarterbacks of the defense. I concur. 2, while you're up early on a Saturday. 2, it happens, man. 3, Lions kicking butt this season. Exclamation point. Woo! Don't think we will win 15 games before winning playoffs. Yeah, winning 15 regular season games, that's going to be hard to replicate. Doesn't mean we can't do it, but I would say the chances are, if we get 12 or 13 wins, I think we're all going to be pretty happy with it. Hookadoo, morning rock, grit, the Lions way of life, I would say so. Bo, Davis played with his mouth wired shut. He did. Guy had grit. He did, man. He did a lot of good stuff. He played through some injuries. I get why he didn't play once the mouth got shattered, but, hey, wish him nothing but the best. Thomas, Tigers have been sleepwalking the past 10 days. They look as if they mailed the season in already. Let's hope not, man. They got a bright future ahead of them if they can get to the postseason and then have an opportunity. Hookadoo, I forgot about that, Bo. That is true grit. I would concur. Lauren, Hookadoo, good morning. Morning, Bo Booth, says Lauren. Bo, great appearance on the Lauren show. On the show, Lauren, yeah, Lauren did a great job with some wise inside information for the UFL. Coach Rock, let's face it, Ben Johnson did cause some head-scratching plays. He did, man, and I know we talked about it way too long now, but I do think MCDC kind of grew tired of all the trick plays and stuff. My biggest one, as you guys probably all know, is every time he went empty backfield with Jared Goff, I just think you're tipping off way too much to the defense because nothing against Crazy Legs Goff. I just don't think most defenses are really going to worry about him scrambling all day. Morning, Lauren. Did you bring grit today? Go Lions. Oh, yeah, I'm down with that. Lauren, thanks, Bo. Even though I have my own show, I was a little nervous. Man, you did a great job. If you were nervous, nobody knew. Thomas, if indeed it's going to have more plays down the field, it's imperative that we find out what we have in Hendon this preseason, just in case Goff gets hurt. Yeah, I think you want to, as a coach, you want to keep seeing that Hendon Hooker is developing, progressing. So if that unfortunate situation unveils itself, you have full faith in what Hendon Hooker can do, and the playbook's wide open. Jacob, this offense is going to be generational. We're going to score and do some things that they haven't seen in a long time. Ball control is a key element to this. Yeah. How do you keep a defense healthy, keep it fresh, keep it off the field? How do you put points on the board, make sure the other team doesn't have the ball, and you score? I think we're going to see a lot of stuff that isn't trickeration. Doesn't mean we won't see some trick plays, but I just think we're going to come out there and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and what are you going to do to try to stop it? I think we're going to just impose our will on other teams. Hookadoo, Rocky, that's a true game plan, plain and simple. A blind man could see it. I concur. Hassani Madley, good morning, Hookadoo, and thumbs up. Thomas, 3 things that we must see this year. Health. I'm down with all of that. Independent Aquaman, as long as our offensive line legally gives their teammates time to repeatedly have Goff throw deep, then more plays will do so be great. Otherwise, they're a waste. Yeah, I think the offensive line doesn't mean it's not going to stumble here and there, have some down moments. Overall, I think it's going to be pretty dang good. Motor City Paulie, I'll buy you a Mountain Dew, Coach Dan, if Ratliff starts at center. I don't think they put Jared Goff in that position. The center just doesn't seem too much for a rookie. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do it, but I just think if that's your ultimate plan as a coach, do it now, do it early. Don't keep flipping them back and forth. But you know what? I've been totally wrong before. We'll see what they do. JK, we haven't seen the offense yet either. The defense, yeah, we haven't seen the offense or the defense. Bo, more 2-back sets will be a thumbs up. I think they're going to do it, and they're going to, not to spend all day on the schematics of it, but if they bring in, an extra linebacker to try to stop the backers or bring another safety up to the line of scrimmage, you're probably having, Gibbs flex out as a receiver and use him in that capacity. Rock, hire Cashmere. Maybe they will. Rock, hire Cash Dow. Lead aerobotics for the team. Aerobics for the teams. There you go. Say Madley. Oh, hi, Silver Server. Hookadoo. What I know is Z is the anticipation of making me wait. All right, I'll go with that. JK. They seriously going to wait and see if someone in the running back room gets injured? Who knows, man? They'll leave that to the coaching staff. Coach Rock, I don't wait too long on Z. Other teams will pounce on him too. Yeah, I've been surprised we haven't seen other teams come out and say we're trying to get him or something like that. Silver Server, Jermaine Small is exactly Gibbs' size, 5'9", 200 pounds. He is a speedback, not the Somalian dude. That was more interesting, more of a trucking type with moves and speed, almost 220 pounds at 5'9". Yeah, he's got a real compact frame, to your point about that. Tux me up, morning, Dan. You need to remember Vaki's 40 time was 4.62. Maybe they're bringing in his replacement. Vaki, though, I don't have his 40 time in front of me. All I can tell you is watching him in college and then watching him a little bit in the preseason last year. I don't think his actual time is 4.2. I know some coaches say there's 40 time and there's game speed. Vaki is pretty dang fast. So you get him on the field one-on-one, there's not going to be I'd say there's probably going to be about half the league that struggles to keep up with him. Now, the other half, obviously, is going to be those cornerbacks chasing him down, but I think the dude does have some speed. All right, JK, for Z to get in, I'm down with that. Coach Rock, last few signings feel like camp fillers. I agree. Camp bodies to keep everything kind of moving, keep guys fresh during the preseason. All right, Silver Hassani Manley. Good morning, Mr. Hassani. I pray all is well, 100%, my friend. Thomas, pray DJ Reader stays healthy. Exclamation point with all the new defensive tackles is extremely important. I agree. Thankfully, we have some depth. Jason Berry, greetings and salutations to the blue Kool-Aid drinking maniacs. I'm down with that. Yes, we're all got that Kool-Aid this time of year. Robert, greetings and back at you. Thomas Vaki, is Emmitt Smith fast? He's as fast as he needs to be. The kid is a football player. He is, man. I really like him. When we drafted him, I know some fans didn't like him, but I've watched him for a few years, and I was pretty happy with it. Phil, worried about Pascal? He has or has had cancer, and his injury is not physical. Pray for him. I do think there's probably, although I don't know, I do think there's probably a correlation between him being out and that. Phil, who returns kicks this year? That's a good question. JK, August 27th is a 53-man cut-down day, so Z time, maybe. Phil, would it not be interesting to see J-Mo return some punts? It'd be great from a speed standpoint, a shake and bake standpoint. I just don't know if they want him out there taking those extra bit of punishment. Jason, the season is nearly upon us. In the words of JDC, tick, tick, tick. Yes, indeed. Thomas, our best chance of winning the Super Bowl is keeping Goff healthy. Exclamation point. That's the one thing about the new middle of our O-line. It is true. Phil, the one coach that did not leave is our great special teams coach. Correct with that. And we had some other coaches not leave as well. Ted, do you think that they will start Rat at center all preseason? If so, he's the starter. If they start him all preseason, he will be probably the week one starter. I wouldn't see a reason why you wouldn't keep him there if you did it all preseason. Thomas, absolutely. J-Mo should return punts in the playoffs. So could be. Bo, did anyone see Flip taking a ride with the Blue Angels? I did not see that. That'd be fun for him. Coach Rock, seems like Lopez is flying under the radar. He will stabilize the D until we get some help back from the injured players. Woo! I think you're right, Hookadoo. I didn't bow the F-18 is it's a real nice plane. How about that? Rocky, open the doors for Martin to show if he's improving with some early reps. He gets to get low and power through some of the show some grit. Yes, let's hope he shows some grit. Phil, do you pick out your T-shirts, Coach? Yeah, I just grab a shirt and wear it, man. Phil, have you taught high school coach in college? Have you taught high school coach or college? I've coached both. So, I've coached high school, middle school, collegiately, professionally. I think there's basically no level I haven't coached at this point. Jim, I think Brad is waiting to sign Edge until cuts begin. Z is an option, but who else is out there? Maybe accurate. Phil, Denver was a number one draft pick. Injuries have been bad luck, but we're all getting impatient with the injured players. Yeah, it happens, man. I think we're just chopping the bit for the season. T-Bone Logs, I can't call it on Z-Man, but it's hard to see him foregoing the season, leaving money on the table. And Lions saved $14 million with Ragnow retiring. $14 million is a good Super Bowl ring. I'm down with getting a Super Bowl ring. Phil, Lions need healthy bodies. Lions camp is notoriously tough. They'll hold back on the vets to keep them healthy. Yeah, 100%. That's why you're signing guys like these guys. Phil, worried about Z not to being worn out by cashed out. It happens. Silver. I wonder, Coach, now are the Yuqua and Ugla and Nate Lynn are going to do? Will we see a surprise, question mark? And what is the name of the undrafted rookie, the 280-pounder? I don't remember the name of that rookie off the top of my head. Tux Beeman, Thomas Donner, a football player that doesn't play, to compare him to Emmitt Smith tells me your football knowledge. You shouldn't engage in conversation. You should understand. No, I've seen Baki, and I think he's not Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders or anything like that, but I think he's pretty dang good. Phil, on that skydive, I heard the scream from here. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did it a few times. Just haven't done it, man, probably in about 8 years or so now. Pierce, who did we sign? Some camp bodies. How about that, Pierce? Nobody, I think, notoriously big, but who knows? Maybe somebody surprises. Silver Sir, I don't believe you can shelter anybody from injury. Freak accidents happen. I concur. Not counting that many of these injuries are muscular ones. We might happen at any time, beginning of practice or the end. Yeah, it could happen anytime. That's one thing with football. It's not a combat sport. It is a contact sport. And because of that, The wrong step at the wrong time, the wrong hit, can cause an injury. Kerry, larger cornerbacks. Yeah, they're both about 5'10-ish, 5'11-ish, and they've got some wheels. JK, Phil, any? All right, we'll find out. Pierce, save all the trick plays for week 2 in the playoffs. There you go. Phil, Goff had several sprained ankles. He will be more mobile if he's healthy. Yeah, and to your point, he played through some injuries last year. To be fair, he's played most of his career during the season through injuries. He's a gamer. You can say he's very Stafford-like in that regard. If he's injured, and he still will play. Phil, any word on question mark JK? We'll find out. JK, any film on? All right, we'll go with that. Michael, Teddy, taking care of his kids and getting suspended. Lions should sign him. Yeah, so I can't speak for the High School Athletic Association of Florida, but in the MHSA, the Michigan High School Athletic Association, all gifts for players have to be 25 or under. I don't know the full parameters of the Teddy Bridgewater situation. Sounds like he was more generous than $25, which is a no-go. Phil laughing. Pat, I still think our offense will score at will. Don't think nobody can stop them. We got an offense that can't be stopped. I agree, man. I fully agree. So, if Vaki has any quality that belong to Emmitt Smith, Lions in great shape. I concur. Phil, Lions expect all the interior offensive linemen to play all the positions on the line. I'd be okay with that. Thomas, Hendon, the preseason must show something! ! We must get a minimum of 6 to 8 quarters of play. I think he's going to get some significant time. Phil, coach to Lions outing staff, maybe coaching staff. Jen to the training nutritional staff. The way coach can work for the Lions. Hey, I'd be okay with it if they want to hire me. Jacob, using one of the tight ends as the fullback would be more efficient, give us more leverage. Yeah, I would be more okay with that just because I don't think you have to bring in somebody specific for that. I also think we've got some nice blocking backs, although I would also say that one of our tight ends probably needs a little bit more blocking ability. Phil, scouting. Yeah, all right, I'm down with that. Thomas, turf, really? Question mark. What if I meant by Emmitt mid-fast is kids a football player and you can count on him? Relax. All right, I'll go with that. Hendon, Hendon Hooker, I think is what it meant. Yeah, Silver, yeah, got it. All right, Michael, thought so. Silver laughing, okay. Thomas, Tug, think, all right, we're all thinking. Kerry Lovett will be the new returner. I think he's going to challenge for it. I don't know if he's going to beat out Khalif, but I think he's going to challenge, definitely. Silver Server, Dan Campbell gave us already the hint of Ratledge starting at center. Yeah, they've been working him there in rookie OTAs, regular OTAs. I won't be surprised if, preseason game 1, the Hall of Fame game, maybe not that game, but after that one, the rest of them, I could see him starting. I really think the Hall of Fame game, you're only playing your thirds, your fourth strings. I don't think you're going to expose many of the first or second string. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Jacob, if J-Mo starts returning punts, that's a death blow to Khalif Raymond. I would agree. Yeah, it probably means Khalif Raymond's out of here. Pierce, J-Mo returning punts would be really dumb. Silver Server, Kerry, if Lovett can return kicks, I can see Khalif let go as long as he doesn't go to the Bears. It could happen, though. Somebody's going to acquire him if that happens. Chad, the historian, another person I haven't seen in a hot second. Where is Smith? Question mark on the bus pile where he belongs. All right, but the bus pile. Pierce, if he's going to be used, how much we have been hearing, why risk him there? We'll find out. Johnny Gas, happy Saturday morning, crew! ! Back at you. D. Lovett will be the X factor in special teams, specifically punt returning. I'm down with that. Hookadoo, happy trails, Duke crew. All Duke crew, one pride worldwide. Same to you. JDC, happy trails, go Lions victory. Lionel, greetings, salutations, Duke crew worldwide! ! I don't mind me, myself, and I can't stand. It is what it is. Lightning and Thundercats. Oh, man, I can't make everybody happy, but I sure do try. Bobo's happy trails, Duke crew, all done and dusted for another Saturday. See you tomorrow. We'll see you then. Lionel, all right. Phil, skipper or two fullback. Ooh, that'd be a big fullback. Or how about B. Martin as the fullback? S.E. Malley, Coach Dan, I say to pay the second draft rookies the guarantee money for first or 2 seasons and the percentage. Okay, I'm down with that. That's some good ideas. Silver Server, I realize that it's hard for people who have not lived in certain era to understand how good were certain players. Highlights are not enough. You have to live it. Okay, I'll take that. Chad, the historian, sorry, brother, I have had a few funerals to attend lately. Been a little busy. No worries, man, and sorry to hear about that. Hopefully you're okay, my friend. Jacob, I won't let me super chat. I got to work on that. Yeah, I don't know how those work. So, but yeah, figure it out and let me know, I guess. I'll try to look it up too. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, let you get on to the rest of your day. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. If you would be so kind before checking out, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Take care, do something kind for somebody you don't know, and we'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Happy trail.